as this is ostensibly an outlaw channel, I actually have some art. Here you go. All right. I probably should have practiced this. But there you go. I hope you can see that. A friend of mine painted this. The original was auctioned off, obviously, for Captain Tom's charity, but he did a little limited edition print run for us for a small donation. I got this one. But anyway, that's the art. What about the law? Well, Dan's done a series of really good videos on all the issues involved in the Captain Tom case. But it gives me a jumping off point to just talk about some of the more general principles to do with charities and what we call trusts. So what's a charity? A charity is an organisation that is set up for a charitable purpose. And charitable purpose is defined generally as something it is for the benefit of, it used to be actually sort of humans, but it's expanded a bit to be, the world generally, or the environment generally. There are a couple of exceptions for that. They can't engage in politics, and also you can't set up a sort of private charity, because although education is seen as a charitable purpose, because education benefits society as a whole, you couldn't sort of set up a charity just to educate your own kids and claim the tax relief, because of course one of the benefits of being a charity is you do get certain sort of financial advantages when it comes to things like taxes and business rates and things like that. That line between sort of good causes generally crossing into politics is why there are actually two Greenpeaces. There's sort of one Greenpeace is the charity, which is the sort of hippie Aren't Polar Bears nice one, and the other, the campaigning one, the politicised one, that's actually not registered as a charity. There was a case recently where one charity challenged the charitable status of another because they said they'd crossed the line into politics. They actually lost the challenge on the grounds of what we call standing, which is, are you entitled to bring the case? And the court said, well, you can only review this decision if you personally are affected by it, and we don't think you've crossed that threshold. But generally speaking, the list of charitable purposes is quite wide. Religion's always been considered to be, a charitable purpose, but just, anything that sort of, benefits people. But charities are effectively what we call trusts. So what is a trust? A trust is where somebody holds assets, often money, but it can be anything, on behalf of another person. And subject to the terms of the trust, they may be able to utilise that asset, but they can only do it to benefit the ultimate owner. Say, for instance, you say to me, can you hold on to my wallet while I just sort of pop to the loo or something like that? I am effectively holding your wallet and its contents on trust, so I can't run off and spend the money myself. I owe you a fiduciary duty, which is what we'll come on to take care of that. But what if, for instance, I knew that there was something you wanted to buy, and somebody was walking past and they happen to have something like that on sale. I thought, oh, he'd really like this, but the guy's disappearing and you're still in the loo. If I took that money out and bought it because I knew you'd want to, I'm probably not in breach of my fiduciary duty there, because I'm still acting in your benefit. And this is, what we get onto with sort of, trusts and charities generally. So trustees of a charity have a fiduciary duty to ensure that all funds are used in the best interests of the charity, and therefore to forward the charitable purpose of that charity. Now, that's not to say, they can pay themselves salaries, because, having people there to operate the charity is in the best interest of the charity. I mean, sometimes when a trust is set up, there are sort of explicit terms of, of the trust and, how far people can go and what are their powers. And other ones you get what called discretionary trusts, where you just basically trust somebody and say, just acting sort of best interests. I mean, trust law is a very complex issue as to how trusts arise, because you can volunteer to be a trustee, but there are certain circumstances where you'll be deemed to be a trustee because it will, it'll be held that you're effectively holding some property on behalf of somebody. And breach of fiduciary duties, can be regulatory, but also criminal offences. So if money is coming into a charity, then you have to use it for the best interest of the charity. But like I say, drawing salaries isn't necessarily, against that. And these are sort of possibly issues we might see as to what people argue. And the Charities Commission and therefore the courts give charities a fairly wide discretion as to how to, run their charities. They don't try to step into their shoes unless they are being completely unreasonable. So that might well be the issue in the upcoming cases. I must confess I haven't really been following it that much. I'm just getting everything by osmosis through watching Dan's videos. But anyway, hopefully you found that vaguely interesting. If you did, as always, please consider clicking, liking, sharing, subscribing. If you want to. And if you don't, no worries there either.